You try to aim at things that you think are worth attaining, and you get yourself disciplined and in order, and that will do. There's nothing else you can do in your life that will be of more benefit to you and to other people simultaneously. And if you can start that when you're a kid, man, I tell you, you'll be so far ahead. You'll be so far ahead by the time you're 18 or 19 that it'll be like you're in a different universe. People who are comparing themselves unfavorably to others, which of course is definitely something that teenagers do constantly, can get out of that to some degree by starting to identify with their ideal future self instead of their current, project under development. I mean, you guys, the teenagers, you guys are young. You've got your whole damn life ahead of you to sort yourself out and to make yourself strong where you're weak and to capitalize on your strengths. So the other thing to realize too is that you've got time to do this, and you don't want to panic too much if things aren't going perfectly well for you when you're 14 or 15. It's extraordinarily common that that's the case. Look, kid, life is difficult. Life is going to be difficult, and a lot of things are going to come your way, but you're a hell of a lot tougher than you think. And because people are very, very tough. And if you can start disciplining yourself and putting yourself together in relationship to the vision of who you might want to be, and a personal vision, right? This isn't be who other people think you should be, although that's not a bad initial guide. This is, if you could have what you needed in order to make your life what you would want it to be, what would that be? That's the beginning of a vision. And that's the sort of thing that gives you courage and charisma and strength and the ability to overcome obstacles and eventually self-confidence and the capacity to be the sort of person that you want to be, and also to be the sort of person that's useful and welcome to other people. That's a hell of a good goal. And I think there's some key elements that go along with that, because the other thing that I would really strongly recommend to your viewers as an experiment is try to go for a month, without saying anything that you know to be a lie. Just experiment with that, because that's also something that's unbelievably powerful. You won't believe how much that'll change your life. So the rule is, watch what you're saying and pay close attention to it. And if you say anything that makes you feel weak, or makes you feel that you've strayed off the proper path, so that you start to feel weak and disjointed inside, then reformulate your language until you find a place that makes you feel like you're speaking from a position of strength, and then use those words. And part of that is, don't say things that you know not to be true, because you make yourself weak doing that, and weak people get hurt badly, and then they get bitter, and then they get resentful, and then they get mean, and then they get hostile, and then things around them aren't good at all. So that's another thing I would recommend as an experiment. You just can't believe how much that can straighten out your life. Well, one of the things that I think can be really useful, and this is also a skill that will serve you well for the rest of your life, is to start using a schedule, like a Gmail calendar, and schedule in studying time, for example. Now, so I've got some thoughts about using a schedule. People often don't like schedules because it's like developing your own tyrant. It's, okay, well, here's a whole bunch of things I have to do tomorrow. That's my schedule, and I better stick with it, or I'm a bad person, I'm a failure. And that's not the right way to go about it, the scheduling. What you want to do with the schedule is design the day that you would like to have. Now, some of that's going to involve responsibilities that you have to live up to, or your life will get worse. Right, so, but I would say, if you're trying to start learning how to manage your school stress, is like, schedule in 10 minutes of homework. Maybe before you go to school in the morning, if you can get up. You probably can't, because teenagers have a hard time getting up in the morning. But start with 10 minutes. See if you can train yourself to sit down for 10 minutes after dinner, some regular time, and do 10 minutes of homework. And that's it. Put that in there as a goal. And then maybe if you've done your 10 minutes of homework, you can schedule in, 15 minutes of playing a video game if you want, some sort of reward. But start figuring out how to organize your day so that you get to do the things that you want to do, and you do some of the things that you have to do in a manner that you think you could actually do, in a manner that would be sustainable across time. And that, like, the part of your brain that makes you anxious is really unhappy if you don't have a plan. And so one of the fastest ways to start to deal with too much negative emotion, too much stress-related negative emotion, is to make a plan and to make it concrete. And so I would say, and a schedule is an unbelievably useful way of doing that. And you think in my mind, in your mind, why am I filling out this calendar for the week? Well, so I know what I'm doing so that I'm not anxious, so that I'm doing things I want to do so I have something to look forward to, and so that I'm doing things that I have to do so that my life doesn't go spiral downhill and might make me more miserable and resentful and bitter. And so you can start to use a schedule as your friend, and that'll take a year of practice to get good at. So if it doesn't work well in the first week, don't give up. Just keep doing it until you get yourself disciplined and are able to stick more and more to your plans. And that will help you so much in your life, you just can't believe it. And so what you want to do is chop up that overwhelming infinity into a set of manageable tasks. And you want to think, some of those tasks might be like, maybe you could put some order into your room, or maybe you could make your room a little bit more beautiful, or maybe you could think of one thing around the house that you could do that would actually be helpful. And you're doing that to improve your life. That's the point. You're not doing it because someone's shaking a stick at you and telling you that this is what you have to do if you're going to be a good person. That's not the point. And you also, with your schedule, you think, I'm going to design this schedule for someone I like. And that person that I'm designing the schedule for that I like is going to be me. And so it isn't the schedule of a slave master to a slave. It's a negotiated schedule that you arrange with yourself so that you can have a decent life. But it's a very powerful tool to have a calendar at your disposal. And if you can learn to use that young, just put a few things in it. Put in your classes, put in a few assignments, put in some things that you might want to do. Just start stupidly and badly, and you'll get good at it and assume you'll get good at it over about a year, and that'll change your life. Like if you learn to listen to people, if you decide that you're not going to say things that you know to be untrue, and if you learn how to schedule your time, your life will change for the better so much that you won't believe it, and that will keep happening more and more and more and more as you get older. So it's a great thing to start practicing if you could start practicing that when you're a teenager, and you get that under control by the time you're 18, you'll be absolutely deadly. You'll be so far ahead of other people who don't do any of that you won't believe it, and you'll just continue to accrue benefits as a consequence. Well, the thing is that, or one of the things is that, you are going to be putting up with other people's problems and troubles for the rest of your life. And what you want to do is live your life in a manner that makes all of that tolerable. And so I would say, with the scheduling and with the attempt to speak honestly, and with the development of goals that are valuable to you, you're going to be occupied enough with your own life and see enough of the quality of that life so that you'll be able to tolerate a fair bit of noise and stress coming at you from other directions. And I would also say that the more that you put yourself together in the manner that we've already discussed, the better other people will treat you, and the less unnecessary suffering and distress that you're going to encounter. And I would say, and I'll close with this, I would say to your viewers, don't underestimate the utility of getting your act together. Another thing you can do is, this is like deciding that you're going to stop saying things that you know not to be true. The other thing is, you could decide to stop doing things that you notice make you weak. And it's a game that you're playing with yourself. It's like you're out with your friends, you do something maybe because you think it'll make you popular, and you notice that makes you feel kind of subordinate and weak, and think, aha, I shouldn't do that again. I don't know exactly what it is that I did wrong, but it made me feel weak. It made me feel like I was coming apart at the seams. It's not the thing I should repeat. So you try to do things that make you stronger. You try to say things that make your speech more true and accurate. You try to aim at things that you think are worth attaining, and you get yourself disciplined and in order, and that will do. There's nothing else you can do in your life that will be of more benefit to you and to other people simultaneously. And if you can start that when you're a kid, man, I tell you, you'll be so far ahead You'll be so far ahead by the time you're 18 or 19 that it'll be like you're in a different universe.